To reconnect. There we go.
Hi, I'm Cassie, the social media specialist here at Connexus Energy. It's almost time to kick off our celebration of $170 million in New Era funding. Fran Botter, Connexus Energy Board Chair, will begin our press conference in just a few minutes.
Did you get it? It's actually 160. I mean, just. Yeah. Can't go back. Did great. It is live, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll take the back roll.
I think just that one. Okay. The other one's on though? Okay, perfect.
See the front view roll for you, Mark.
Speech.
I should have got here.
I was going to say, that's what you get for coming in very late or so. You get to sit in the front.
Didn't you get to sit right by the camera at annual meeting too?
They're just leaning there.
You're gonna wanna like stay back.
If I get in your way, don't you
You're okay.
whack me.
Yeah, I will.
Feel free.
Well, good morning. Just a few logistics before we begin. Please take a moment to familiarize yourself with the nearest exits. We've got these doors over here, plus there's also a corner door in the back of the room. There's also an AED machine, a first aid kit, and fire extinguisher nearby. The restrooms are just through these doors and to your left, if those are needed. I'm Fran Botter, Chair of the Connexus Energy Board of Directors. I'm thrilled to welcome you to our headquarters today for one of the most exciting milestones in our cooperative's history. Ever since a small group of Anoka County farmers founded our rural electric cooperative in 1937 with a $160,000 loan from the Rural Utility Services in Washington, D.C., Connexus has been focused on innovation and service to our members. 87 years later, we're celebrating another transformative moment with the Rural Utility Services. We're proud to announce that Connexus has been awarded nearly $170 million in grant funding through the Inflation Reduction Act, Empowering Rural America New Era program. This funding is an investment in the future of our energy grid, making it more affordable, more reliable, and more renewable. Here's what this New Era funding means for Connexus members. Lower costs for our members. Up to a 25% reduction in costs for 282 megawatts of renewable projects and battery storage assets added to our power supply, which equivalates to approximately 40% of our energy mix. It means clean energy for 80,000 homes annually. These carbon-free projects will help us power the future sustainably. And it means support for our 10-year resource plan. Plan approved in November of 2023, this plan aligns Connexus with Minnesota's mandate for 100% carbon-free electricity by 2040. The New Era funding will ease the financial path to meeting these goals. Our 146,000 members of Connexus already enjoy reliability ranked in the top 5% of all utilities nationwide. And this funding ensures that we'll continue leading the way with service reliability and grid innovation. It's very fitting that we are joined today by Administrator Burke of the United States Department of Agriculture. Connexus representatives, including our retired CEO Greg Ritterbush, proudly participated in Minnesota's delegation at the White House event, which was hosted by Administrator Burke when the New Era funding was announced back in May of 2023. We are so grateful for the support of Senator Tina Smith, Senator Amy Klobuchar, the National Rural Electric Cooperative Association Assistant Administrator Christopher McLean, our U.S. General Field Representative Sean Malstead, and leaders and staff at CURE, whose advocacy was critical to making this a reality. Thank you. Now I would like to extend a warm welcome to our next speaker, Derek Moe, CEO of the Minnesota Rural Electric Association. For nearly 11 years now, Derek has tirelessly represented Minnesota's not-for-profit rural cooperatives, and he has been fighting for our interests and ensuring our voices are heard. Please welcome Derek.
Thank you, Chair Botter. It's great to be here this morning on this exciting day for this fantastic announcement. Connexus is such an excellent role model of a co-op that has been doing innovative things in the energy space, and it's fantastic to be able to be here and be part of this announcement for New Era. Connexus is going to be able to carry forward even more of its innovative programs and ideas, and they're doing that on a track record that demonstrates that's the kind of co-op they are. Already moving forward on a lot of solar projects, the biggest storage project in the Midwest, working on additional innovative storage as we speak at a substation not far from here in order to delay a substation upgrade and do that with storage instead. So the money is heading to a great place in terms of the work that Connexus has done in the past, and it's fantastic to be part of that. And co-ops in general in Minnesota have certainly been leaders at getting through this very challenging energy transition and leveraging the kinds of tools that have come with the Inflation Reduction Act and IIJA. And so it's Connexus is one of those that's demonstrating that leadership, and it's wonderful to be part of a state where co-ops have worked so hard to put these tools to work and have done very well in competing for these programs and bringing them back to their members. And really what's unique about co-ops, of course, is our fundamental motivation from, Fran Botter is the chair of Connexus. She's also buying electricity from Connexus. Co-ops governed by people in their local communities looking for ways to navigate these energy transitions that have a lot of challenges, and also do that in a way that's focused on how do you keep the electricity flowing and keep those communities healthy and keep them in power on a reliable basis and affordable basis. And so we're successfully doing that across Minnesota's cooperatives, and Connexus is such a great example. And to be in the room with the folks, such a wide range of folks that made this kind of program happen. Connexus, of course, going to take the dollars and carry it forward now, but USDA Administrator Burke, Chris McLean, who's been hard at work at USDA for many years and continuing to do a great job there, setting up the regulatory policy of the state, the senators for our state and the representatives who have worked hard on getting IRA in place and moving it forward legislatively. So it's fantastic to have you all, and appreciate being part of it. I get a chance to introduce somebody that's worked on the concepts of these policies before IRA actually was debated in the legislature, kind of thinking about the framework for how that would happen. Eric Hattelstead worked on those concepts and made them well known in DC and around the state. So I have the pleasure of introducing Eric Hattelstead. He is a resident of rural Minnesota, a fifth-generation family farmer there. He's a founder of a newly opened local food co-op, and again helped develop a report that led to New Era's design. And help me welcome Eric Hattelstead.
All right, thank you, Derek. Good morning, everyone. So my name is Eric. I am the Director of Rural Cooperative Energy at CURE. CURE is a rural community organization made up of Minnesotans from across the state that care deeply about the future of rural communities, rural people, and rural electric cooperatives. Cooperatives and rural electric cooperatives in particular are as Minnesotan as hot dish and the snowstorm outside. In 1922, Minnesota Congressman Andrew Volstead led the passage of the law that legalized cooperatives across the country, giving farmers and rural communities a new opportunity to come together to build community-centered enterprises to address community needs. In that same cooperative spirit, farmers in Yellow Medicine County organized the first electric cooperative in the country, Stony Run Light and Power, over 20 years before the Rural Electrification Act passed. So Minnesota has always been a cooperative leader, and with the award announced today, Connexus Energy continues Minnesota's legacy of leading cooperatives into the new era of serving rural communities. Since their foundation, electric cooperatives have placed benefiting the communities that they serve at the core of their mission, and Connexus is already demonstrating that how forward-thinking investments in energy infrastructure will continue to build on that legacy. Connexus has established itself as a national leader by demonstrating the opportunities that local distributed energy generation and energy storage hold for electric cooperatives and the communities that they serve. Connexus's solar plus storage projects are already reducing costs for co-op members and strengthening the resiliency and reliability of electricity with technology that has been available since 2018 when their first project went into operation. Through the implementation of new projects, Connexus is also demonstrating how new energy infrastructure and agriculture cannot just coexist, but thrive together. From pollinator habitat to agrivoltaics to farmer partnership, Connexus has made delivering benefits to farmers a priority. This historic award will clear the way for Connexus to continue demonstrating its commitment to innovation and community service, all while delivering affordable and reliable power. In rural communities across the country, the New Era program is providing much needed resources to electric cooperatives to expand American energy dominance, create jobs, grow new opportunities for farmers, and reduce costs for consumers. Essentially, New Era is supporting electric cooperatives in the continuation of their historic mission. It's a program that is asking co-ops to do what co-ops do best, to serve their communities through local, community-driven decision-making. New Era gives electric cooperatives an opportunity to think big about the future of both the communities they serve and the service they provide. By working side by side with members, farmers, workers, and community organizations, we know that they'll be successful in rural electrification in the 21st century. And we know that co-ops are up to the task because they've already accomplished a seemingly impossible task, the electrification of rural America over the last 100 years. And with that, I have the pleasure of introducing the recently named CEO of Connexus Energy, Brian. Brian has spent 25 years with Connexus and most recently as Vice President of Power Supply and Business Development. During his career with Connexus, Brian has led many projects, including creation of a new power supply structure, creating Connexus's first 10-year resource plan, and launching Minnesota's first solar and storage project, among so many other things. Thank you for your work on behalf of Connexus's member owners. Brian.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Connexus Energy. We appreciate you battling the snow to get here. Thank you. I'm Brian Brandt, as Eric said, President and CEO of Connexus Energy. Today marks the culmination of months of dedication and teamwork. Our team has researched, planned, negotiated, envisioned, written, and rewritten our application for this New Era funding. With this transformative moment as our ultimate goal, hard work truly pays off. Through the Inflation Reduction Act, Connexus has been awarded nearly $170 million in grant funding to support and accelerate our journey towards decarbonizing our resource portfolio. This funding is a major milestone for Connexus and the communities we serve. Our New Era application includes a diverse portfolio of projects. 100 megawatts of solar between local and outstate sites, 175 megawatts of wind in Minnesota and possibly surrounding states, 7 megawatts of hydro to be installed at the Coon Rapids Dam on the Mississippi River, just 10 miles from here, and 20 megawatts of battery storage between projects sited at substations or co-located with renewable generation. Connexus is proud to be a leader in solar plus storage, having developed the first and largest battery storage system in Minnesota. With this New Era funding, we will be the first to add a substation-sited battery system, continuing our legacy of innovation and reliability. Together, these solar, wind, hydro, and battery storage projects will significantly decarbonize our portfolio and reduce our carbon footprint by nearly 60%. This progress ensures a brighter, more sustainable future for our members and their families. It also puts us on a pathway toward achieving Minnesota's 100% carbon-free mandate. Our projects span multiple geographic locations. While some are local to Connexus distribution grid, others will be transmission connected in Minnesota and the upper Midwest. This geographic and power supply diversity will help us mitigate risk and strengthen our energy resilience. Although we don't have project quotas this year yet, progress is underway. We have power purchase agreements and term sheets for several projects already. We're excited to see these projects take shape and encourage you to watch for updates as we advance steadily through the next phases. Thank you for joining us as we celebrate this transformative investment in our cooperative's future. Next, Administrator Burke will give his remarks. Administrator Burke was the mayor of Chattanooga, Tennessee from 2013 to 2021, and a member of the Tennessee State Senate from 2007 to 2012. Now as a USDA Rural Utilities Service Administrator, Andy continues his work to bring high-quality infrastructure to all Americans, with a particular focus on rural America. The Inflation Reduction Act is the largest investment in rural electrification since the New Deal. And Berg's agency is leveraging it to fund nearly $40 billion of new clean energy projects. Please join me in welcoming Administrator Berg. Well, good morning, y'all. I know with the y'all are surprised that I'm not from Minnesota, but I'm from Tennessee. Great to be with you. Thanks to Brian and Fran, both for your remarks, but also for your amazing partnership. I also just want to acknowledge that we are here on a difficult week, a difficult time for Connexus. Know that they've lost an employee, and I just want to say on a personal level, having been, as you heard, around this business for a long time, that's very challenging for our organization. It's challenging for friends and people to lose partners, employees, loved ones. I send my best out to you and to the family, and I pray for everyone. So thank you. We know that even as we celebrate that's going on, I just want to make sure that we acknowledge it. This is a great moment to talk about the future, and I think that Fran and Brian did a great job of kind of setting us up to do that. I just want to make sure that I acknowledge some other people around the room. Eric did not only, you heard about his great co-op background, he took a few months off and came to the Rural Utility Service, helped us as we were standing things up. Hopefully that didn't scar him for too much of the rest of his life to spend a few months with us, but we certainly appreciate the work that he did. We have Pete from state government, who's was in federal government before, helped as well on these pieces, was one of the reasons that we're here, but I just want to make sure that we acknowledge the amazing work that's going on in Minnesota right now and appreciate them. Pat from Senator Klobuchar's office, I want to make sure that I talk about, we'll talk a few times today, hopefully about Senators Klobuchar and Smith, but the only reason I'm standing here today is because of their leadership and the work that was done. Our agency can't do anything without funding, without money. That comes from Congress. And President Biden's leadership, but Senator Klobuchar and Senator Smith's work to pass the Inflation Reduction Act, which was a very challenging piece of legislation to get across the finish line. That's the reason that we can get this work done, and so just want to say a huge thanks to them. I also just want to make sure people know that they have not only did that piece, they argued quite forcefully for Minnesota projects after that was passed. I'm not going to surprise anybody in this room about that, and so we very much appreciate them. I don't know that we have anybody here from the state USDA office. Oh, okay, great. Thanks for being here. I know we were supposed to have a bunch of people here, and because of the snowstorm, that didn't quite happen. I got an email this morning that people weren't going to be able to be here. But the state office, one of the fun parts about being in the USDA is that we have people all over the country, and it's fantastic to see that, because that helps us know. I come from local government, as you heard, and so we need to know what's happening on the ground, and the state office does a great job. And then the last person I want to acknowledge, I'm doing this last on purpose, is Derek Moe, who does a fantastic job as the head of the co-ops. The reason I'm acknowledging him last, I have never told him this, is because my thesis advisor when I was in college was Professor Moe. Every time I see him, I feel like pulling an all-nighter. I see the name, it kind of gives me the shivers when I see it, worried about how I haven't got my thesis done yet, and I need to go see Professor Moe.
I think there's no way to be here without talking about history. And I don't want to put anybody to sleep, but it's easy to drown in the numbers. Brian talked about a bunch of the numbers. And I just want to put this in like a little bit both personal terms for me and also historical terms in the words that Fran, I think, eloquently talked about earlier. So first, let me start with this personal piece. So I was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And the year after I was born, Walter Cronkite, for those younger in the room, once called the most trusted man in the country, broadcaster for CBS News. He did a 1-hour special about my hometown. And he called it the dirtiest city in America. From where City Hall is today, there were 60 foundries and steel mills within a 1.5 miles of City Hall, so right in downtown Chattanooga. We, much like Pittsburgh, where our valley surrounded by mountains with a river that cuts right through the middle of it, so the smog billowed out of those stacks, trapped inside the area, and would just stay there. And I remember hearing the stories of when you went to work in the morning, if you were a professional and you had a white shirt, you took a shirt to change into after lunch, because when you went out to lunch, came back, you had to put on a different colored shirt. So a couple of things happened. Congress passed the Clean Air Act and the Clean Water Act, and local leaders decided that what they could do was to orient ourselves towards the river and make sure that our economic development flowed from that beautiful resource that we had. And so when I left the city to go to college, I thought to myself, I'm never going back. And not only did I come back, I became the mayor of the city. And then while I was mayor, Outside Magazine named us best town ever. And so we had amazing rock climbing and hang gliding and rappelling and paddle boarding, and you just name it, we have it. And when I think about cleaning up our air and water, I think about the transformation of my hometown and what it means to go from dirtiest city in America to best town. And this is what we do. It takes federal leadership and policies, and then it takes local leadership doing amazing work to figure out how to take advantage of that and improve it. So yesterday I did an event in another part of the state with CTC Telephone Co-op, quick advertisement, giving them some money for high-speed internet, which is another piece of what RUS does. So I drove around. That was a couple hundred miles. Drove a couple hundred miles that way. Came back. Now I've driven over here. You know, Tennessee and Minnesota, different, but both have natural beauty and charm. You've got lakes and farming and lots of outdoor activity, and people want to live here to hunt or fish or to go outdoors or do those same things that people do in Tennessee. And so as we talk about what it means to reduce this massive amount of pollution into our air, I just don't want to get lost in these millions of tons of numbers. And instead, the way I think about it is through this art of what does it mean to take care of what God has given us. And so today, the other part of that history is the history of the Rural Electrification Administration, which, as Fran pointed out, helped start Connexus. And then when we added water and telecommunications, became the Rural Utility Service. And so we have this deep history of how do we help communities to have that quality of life and economic development that can forge a better future for them. And that's what we're tapping into today. That's why I think President Biden and Congress designated these funds, because they knew that RUS, once REA, had the capacity and the mission to do this, and that co-ops think about their members first, and how do we ensure that their lives are better 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So here's what this means, as Brian said. Each year, Connexus is going to pump out 1.1 million tons less of greenhouse gases into our atmosphere. That helps our air and our water and make sure that families can live healthier lives. Huge deal. It's going to be 25% less in costs. And one of the reasons why I love working with the co-op world is co-ops tend to serve some of the most economically challenged places in the United States of America, and they put cost first. And so when we give this $170 million of funding, what we do is we take some of that upfront capital cost off the books so that it's a little bit less to the members. And it's important to note also that the cost of renewable energy, particularly as it pertains to the difference between fossil fuels, the cost of renewable energy is coming down, and so is the cost of batteries, which you are taking advantage of in a huge way right now. And so all those pieces combine to make a better future for Connexus and its members. And then just to put this in a larger context, just today, we are announcing this along with several other awards, which total a little bit under $4.4 billion worth of grants and loans to co-ops all across the country. And we chose to be here today to do this with you because we think this is a fantastic project, and also because of the amazing work of Senators Klobuchar and Smith and Governor Walz in really pushing clean energy in Minnesota. Overall, we're now at the point where we will reduce the number of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere by more than 50 million tons, not total, but each and every year. So this is huge for our air, but it's not just that. As I said, we reduce the cost, and then the final piece is there is a jobs component. So Connexus estimates that this will support a little bit under 400 jobs. Today's announcement are somewhere around 5,000 jobs across these different projects, and we're now at the point where we're talking about 25,000 new jobs. So I just want to say we are super excited to be here today. We look forward to what you're going to do with this funding. But I'm also want to acknowledge that President Biden has put a lot of emphasis on infrastructure in his presidency. If you look at the last 4 years, bipartisan infrastructure law, the Inflation Reduction Act, several other pieces of important legislation, what they did was to essentially allocate billions of dollars, trillions of dollars in funds for infrastructure. And the way that, especially as a former local official, the way that I think about this is there's this opportunity to build the foundation, and then local communities to figure out what to do with that foundation. And here in Minnesota, probably going to be a little different than what we do in Tennessee or in other places. But this is critical for the future. Y'all have shown tremendous leadership. I should say before I end that for every dollar that we're giving out, people requested about $4 additional. So y'all are one of the ones that actually won because of the fantastic proposal that you put in. But there's the opportunity to do this and really build a better future for Connexus members. We thank you so much for being here today and look forward to not only the groundbreakings, but getting these resources online. Thank you very much.
So with that concludes our presentation this morning. Thanks for coming. Travel safe. And I believe there were fielding questions, correct?
Yes, if there's any press in the room, that's it. So we'll just ask our presenters to stick around.
Sure.
That's it.
Sure.
Answer questions, and then we'll get some photo opportunities.
Thank you.
Good.
Good job.
And standing up.
Still live.
When was your first job here?